Here in the studio with me, Abha Banerjee, women's rights activist. What is the way ahead? How do we find a solution to this impasse?
And let me just start with saying that you're so right that it is, when issues are politicized, when such issues which the Supreme Court has already told what needs to be done, it's a gross contempt of what is needed to be done. I mean, the court of law, the law in the country is not being heard. We don't want to listen to what's going on. We don't see the right things. We don't want to, do the right things. We want to make noise. So this is politicizing the entire issue, making noise around it, holding on to it for your own personal benefit, whether you call one party or the other party. As an ordinary citizen, I am worried because this is about gender justice. This is about all this women empowerment thing that is going on in the country. This is about all the same parties talking about this. On the one hand, on these multiple standards that we watch all day, that they're fighting over this. Now, like rightly you were saying earlier, would Lord Ayappa, want this kind of violence in his name? Now, let me take you to a little story. I mean, let me take you to Vivekananda. Ayappa, nobody remembers, nobody knows what's going on, and it's been created around that name. Let me remind you of Vivekananda. We all know him, and our Prime Minister is very fond of Vivekananda. We are all Vivekananda followers. I am, since the age of 9. There's an incident where Vivekananda went to a certain town, and a trader over there, he was welcomed over there on his this yatras that he used to do. And this trader over there, the big business guy, he said, all right, let me welcome Vivekananda. So he invited a prostitute, who was the biggest prostitute in the city, to welcome Vivekananda. Now, Vivekananda was a sannyasi. He said, what nonsense is this? How do you call a prostitute to welcome me? Don't you know I'm a sannyasi? So this thing went on, and the trader was begging Vivekananda, please come out and look at the prostitute. Prostitute is waiting over there. Vivekananda goes inside the room and shuts him up. He says, I am not coming out because I am not coming in front of a prostitute. Now this goes on until the prostitute gets up and goes up to Swami Vivekananda and says, this is the real story from his books, right? So she goes upstairs, listen, Vivekananda, you're a sannyasi. What are you worried about? I am the lowly woman, and I am the lowly person over here. I am doing my job. Why should you be worried? How would your purity be diluted, polluted just because of me? And Vivekananda got the point. He said, yes, this must be some fear in my mind or something that I have to worry about, and I should not be bothered about. If I'm pure, I'm pure. So I don't think Ayappa needs the politicians or all this nonsense that is going around this whole trial.
That's very well put, Abha. That is certainly an interesting story that you recounted for our viewers, and it really does put into perspective, this entire hypocritical debate that we're currently witnessing around the issue of Sabarimala. What is the way out? Are you hopeful that once the review petition, the review petitions are heard on the 22nd, after that we could see some semblance of normalcy returning, or is Kerala going to continue being a battlefield for months now?
See, now let's make up our minds about what's happening over here. What are we trying to do? Are we fighting over gender justice? Are we fighting over faith and belief? And if there is a conflict, if there is a dispute, there is a process in this country. Now, let me remind everybody again, like you've said many times, the highest court of this country has said something. Now, there is that process that exists over here. Now, we can't go, we are literally trying to say, I don't care what that means. It's my way or the highway. The open threats on national TV saying, if you don't do it this way, we're going to do it this way. So there's threats of violence, there's threats of this and that. And the very question where it all started, of women entering this temple, has literally been sidelined at the moment, and this whole faith has been brought about. Now, I'm a Hindu, so I want to understand this kind of Hinduism where we cannot talk about these things. Where is the dialogue? Where is the conversation? Where are those questions being answered? Who has made these rules? Okay, if they are made, I want to say, now these rules are being broken down because of we being in 21st century and women understanding that they have a right to worship, or there is a right to equality, or whatever their gender discrimination problem may be. So why are we not talking about this? Is this the way to answer the questions that come up in society by pushing people out, by beating up journalists, by beating up women, or by beating up men? Killing people. We are killing people for women entering a temple. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
Are we all right? I mean, are we in some sort of sane situation, or are we just sort of going out? We know that we got to beat the whole thing out into pulp and then make something out of it and something else out of it until we get what we want, and the whole issue has been sidelined. The whole question has been sidelined. Is the Supreme Court foolish? Is the law foolish? Is the Constitution foolish? All these rights and freedoms, are they a waste of paper or waste of print just for us to sit here in the studio and shout?
And you know, we keep hearing about the constitution of this country.
Right.
They keep bringing up Article 25.
Yes.
Conveniently forgetting about Article 14.
Yes.
Which has been upheld by the Supreme Court no less. What do you think is really the way ahead? There has to be some end to this madness.
Now we as ordinary people watching this over here feel totally helpless because it's, based on all the things that we've heard, all the things that we are hearing, reading, and what just Mr. Naidu just said. तांत्रिक टेम्पल can I speak in Hindi?
Yes, but very quickly, very quickly.
देखिए हमको जो है या तो it's my way or the highway, नहीं तो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन क्रिएट होगा. ये पोलिटिसाइज हो चुका है मामला. मेरे जैसे लोग जो यहाँ पे बैठ के बात कर रहे हैं, मुझे ये पूछना है कि अगर ये जो रूल्स हैं, ये जो सब बने हुए हैं यहाँ पे, मुझे उनके बारे में जानना है. एक ये हिंदू डिस्कोर्स होने का वक्त है. आइए हम लोग इस पे बात करते हैं. क्या हमारे भगवान इतने कमजोर हैं कि उनके सामने घेरा लगा के खड़े होने की जरूरत है? अगर ये तांत्रिक टेम्पल है, तंत्र मैं समझती हूँ, मुझे समझा दीजिए कि ये तंत्र किस तरह से मुझे रोकने को तैयार है. लेकिन मेरे भगवान इतने कमजोर नहीं हो सकते कि मुझे उनको मेयर मॉर्टल्स की जरूरत है अपने को बचाने के लिए. जोया ने पहले कहा कि हनुमान जी की बात करी, उनका ब्रह्मचर्य शनि महाराज. तो वी डोंट नीड
do not need us mere mortals to protect them. I think that's very well put. Abha.